What's going on, guys? Car Review Guys here. My name is AJ and we are back this week with a 2023 Genesis G80 Electrified. It is all-wheel drive. This is the full review. We are going to start with the exterior, going over stats, figures, everything I think that you would want to know. Then we're going to work our way to the interior, and then we are going to take it on a drive. I have spent the week with it. My time is coming to an end, so you are going to see what I genuinely think. I'm always honest in my things. We are chasing 20,000 subscribers, hopefully before the end of the year, over 18,000, almost 19,000 right now. Thank each and every one of you. Next video, 5 things to love, 5 things to improve. You guys know the deal. Let's roll after the cinematic. Starting on the exterior with some of the stats and figures with what's underneath the hood, if you will, aka what is powering this G80 Electrified. So it has 365 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque, and as mentioned, the drivetrain is all-wheel drive. The curb weight is going to be right around 5,038 pounds, which pushes this G80 Electrified from 0 to 60 in about 4.1 seconds. Yes, she is not slow, just saying. Now, let's look at the dimensions. The overall length, you're looking at just under 16.5 feet, and the width, you're looking at 6.33 feet, which you will see in just a second as we get to the rear. And of course, it has a ground clearance, we have to discuss it of course, 5.5 inches. Now, we are all the way at the back. You can definitely see the overall profile, again 6.33. You probably cannot even see it. It is blended in with the grille. EV range, you're looking at 282 miles, and your charge time on a level 3 DC fast charger, 10 to 80% is around 22 minutes. And your level 2, which is typically what you install in your house, at least most people would, that is going to be right around 7 hours, which is perfect because most people just plug it in overnight and you're good to go. As mentioned, right in the grill, if you hadn't seen it yet, if you just push right there on the G, open it up, and again, charge port door. It is nice. I do like that it gives it such a clean look, and if you step back, again, you can't see it at all, so it's a very good design by Genesis. Of course, LED headlamps, super bright at night. There are 9 different color options. This one in particular, if I say this wrong, I am sorry. Verbier White Matte, I do believe. If I say it wrong, no big deal. You guys will know which one. It is a $1,500 option. It is unique. Anytime you get matte on a vehicle from factory, it looks pretty good in my opinion, and it is definitely unique and it stands out. The wheels in the front, 245, 45, 19s, and if we step it on back to the rear very quickly, 275, 40, 19. There is, of course, keyless entry, as you can see right there. It is only on the front doors, though. It is not on the rear. I do wish that was the case, seeing as this is, you know, obviously more luxurious. So that would be something to potentially improve upon. all LED lights in the rear as well. In order to pop the power trunk, it is right above the camera. Just press in, up it goes. And then in the trunk space, so I've tested this, you can fit 2 golf bags right along there, and then you have enough room right up in there for just some small things. However, one thing to note, the rear seat does not fold down. You do have that little door, if you will, so if you need something skinny to fit through there, you can. Past that, it doesn't fold down, and it is definitely taking up some space right here. That is probably a good 8 inches to a foot, I would say. Right around there is what you were looking at for space. I don't want to say wasted, because there's obviously a purpose, but nonetheless using up space. In order to close it, simply just press it and down it goes. Now, the one thing that some people may or may not know, on the key fob, you have what's called the Smart Parking Assistant, which is right here and right here. Now, you can obviously remote start it from the key fob as well, which you can see up in the top right. If we take a look at the fob here, if we press the lock button and then let's just hold the remote start, get it to start, you can see it blinking. And after the 3rd blink, it will have started. You can ever so slightly hear it as well. Now, in order to use this, the reason you may use this is, let's say it's a tight parking spot, right? Someone, after you've already parked, parks really close to you and you can't get your door open. This is where this is super nice. So, if you need to pull it forward, it will pull forward as long as you hold it in that direction. So, if we hold it forward, as soon as I let go, it's gonna stop. Now, if you need it to go back into a spot, hold it the other direction. And as soon as you let go, it's gonna stop. So that is how you use the Smart Park, in case you didn't know. Definitely a nice feature to have. Time to step into the rear seat. So the first thing I noticed, just so you know, this door is actually pretty wide. So if you need a wide opening rear door, this may be an option for you. Sounds silly for some, but it is important to others who may struggle getting in or out. Or maybe you have little ones and it's just easier having the door wide open so you can get them in and out of the car seat. Whatever the case is. I'm 5'9", so testing getting in the rear here. Very easy, like a lot easier. I thought I would have to duck a lot more. I actually don't, so that was actually really good. So now that we are in here, let's touch on some of the materials. So in front of us we have it is actually like leather wrapped. I thought honestly it was hard. That's the first time I've touched it. It is harder, like you can probably see the difference, like the give, there's not as much give, but it's still like leather wrapped in this section, with this being, you know, leather. So that's actually really nice. Down here, of course, this folds out for a little pocket. You have your own temperature, so it is tri-zone. That is really nice to control your own stuff back here. You do have buttons in case you want to, you know, no one's up there basically, and you're like, hey, I want to stretch out. Cool, you can just move it forward and make yourself some more room over here on the passenger side. You've got 2 cup holders, and then this is the rear sunshade, which you can see right there is up. That does go down whenever the vehicle is in reverse. As already mentioned, back here you do have this little door. Fold it down, whatever you want to use it for. And then actually right here you do have some center console space as well, even in the rear, with some charging ports. Checking out the door materials, so up here it is basically like a rubberized, pretty typical. It's not hard plastic, which is nice to see in a luxury vehicle. And then this design right here, I love it. I mean, it's almost kind of like a forged carbon, but with like color. Like, that's the best way I can describe it, honestly. It's pretty nice. I really do like it. And then this is all soft touch. You've got some design in it. Speaker bezels look nice, nothing too fancy, but I mean, again, no issues with them for sure. They look nice. And then you do have some texture to the window switch, which again, I always like just a little bit of something on the window switches. It does make it feel more premium. So they did a really good job. And then looking down further, it even says Genesis, and then some different design and texture even in the plate right there. Time to step into the front seat. Let's take a step in. Again, super easy. Front or back, very easy to get into the G80 Electrified. The front door panel is very similar. However, you do have this ginormous speaker bezel. That is definitely unique. I have not seen that in too many other vehicles. Usually you have something basically like the size in between there, maybe. But that is really large. Now, again, all softer materials, which is exactly what I would expect, like the same forged carbon, if you will. It's not, but that's what it reminds me of. Up through here, it looks good. 2 settings on your memory seating. And then this is kind of nice because this is kind of up at an angle opposed to being just flat down here like majority of cars. It actually is. It's just how your hand would lay. So it's nice to have all of your options there. Of course, power folding mirrors. All the window switches, again, feel premium. Definitely nice. Checking out the pillar, this is all like an Alcantara all the way up on the roof as well, all Alcantara, which is nice. Typical edgeless mirror right there with underneath your HomeLink 3 different settings for garage doors. Out in front of us, you can see there, we do have a heads-up display, which is good to have. In front of us, it's gonna be hard to tell on camera. This is a 3D instrument cluster, and those 2 little dots up at the top, you cannot see those through the human eye, unless it's at night just slightly, but the camera lens is just picking that up based on frame rate, just so you know. Over here we have, I believe it's a 14.5-inch display. I really do like the infotainment on Genesis because not only is it a touchscreen, you can also use the little dial down here. So it is nice because you can just hit home and you can go to whatever you want using the dial. So again, we'll just click it back to the map just because. Heated seats, cooled seats, heated steering wheel. It is all on a touch panel right down there. And then for your, again, for all of the stuff up here, there are hard buttons like, you know, shortcuts, if you will, that you can just tap there as well. So it's nice to have a mix of buttons. Right down here, you do have some scroll wheels for, as you can probably see, your volume and your tune. You have a wireless phone charger right down there. Kind of hold your phone at this angle of my hand, and a couple different charging ports. Start stop right there. Drive modes, and of course looking at your camera and parking sensors. Let's take a look at the cameras. Let's press it, close. Now let's click over here on the left. You can see it has a little arrow all the way around, and this reminds me of Mercedes-Benz a lot, and the quality is just as good. I promise you, I am not just saying that. It is really, really good. Very quick to touch as well, which is great. Some looking very quickly may notice there's some paddle shifters. That is not obviously for gear selection, as that would not pertain to this car being an EV. You can probably notice on there just ever so slightly, looks like a battery. That is for your regenerative braking. You can decide how much you want it to basically brake for you, if you will. You can take it all the way down to where it is a I pedal, which basically is just using the gas pedal. You really don't have to use the brake pedal because it'll always bring you to a full stop. So if that's something you haven't experienced, I would definitely recommend driving an EV. Pretty much all EVs offer that, and it actually is really nice. Steering wheel, Genesis, Hyundai, Kia. I absolutely love their steering wheels. Like, I don't care if you think it looks funny. Listen, I am not joking. Being able to hold it right here comfortably and down here in the middle, great. Really, really love the ergonomical design. Of course, over here you do have your lane centering, your adaptive cruise control, and then a little bit further down, again, cruise control settings. And then this little wheel is going to control the middle menus. I leave it on speedometer. I do like to see the speed in a digit form. And then this is all of your multimedia controls over on the left. Last but not least, center console. It splits in the middle, and I would say at least one tissue box with a few things on top. I know they're probably just a little bit. You do have an outlet right there as well, and this little doodad which can come out if you would like it to. It's time to take this G80 Electrified out onto the road. So without further ado, let's roll. For those that are not new to the channel, know that I generally start out the driving segment by just doing a 0 to 60. Again, I'm not going for the fastest 0 to 60. I am punch it and go, okay? Now, with that said, we are going to put it in sport mode, because if you really wanted to go, that's what you would do. Again, I'm below half battery charge right now. I'm only showing about 122 miles until it is gone. So, in Arizona, 90 degrees, we're just gonna punch it and go, 0 to 60 in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, it's supposed to be about 4.1, 50, 60. That's where EVs are just so good. It just has all that torque, and with the all-wheel drive, like, shoo, you gone, which is nice, right? Because you always want to have that passing power, and that's leading me to my point in just saying that, the passing power, even rolling, like even on the freeway, if you really need to get up and get past somebody, you absolutely can. As far as suspension goes, I'm very happy with it. Being in a luxury segment, it is very good. It's quiet, it's smooth. Based on whatever drive mode you're in, you can definitely feel a difference in the steering wheel reaction, even going over bumps and whatnot. Again, I'm very happy with the suspension and the way it's tuned. It is on the more luxurious side with just an ever so slightly sporty feel when you want it to in sport mode. In a luxury segment, I don't know about you, but at least for me, I'm always looking for a vehicle to be quiet. I want it to be smooth and quiet, and the G80 Electrified hits all of those boxes so well. Anytime you have an EV, it's that much harder to have the vehicle actually quiet. I know that sounds crazy, but it is, because usually you have some motor noise, exhaust noise, kind of like having a fan on at night, for any of you that do that. It just creates some noise in the background to where you don't hear the wind noise as much. But in an EV, it's silent. So everything's going to be heard unless you refine everything else, and they've done that in the G80. You can tell they spent the hours, they put in the work in order to refine it to where it is quiet the way I would certainly expect it. And it's basically an $80,000 car, and it definitely reflects that, in my opinion. Like, here's a vehicle coming by right now, just as an example. If you heard it, it was barely. I mean, barely. Even on the freeway, we were just cruising along. It's nice and quiet. So it's nice that Genesis has done that. Checking our blind spots over to the left, the pillar is a little bit wider, I would say, than probably the average car, but again, you can still see pretty good back through the other window. Checking over to our right, I would say virtually no blind spot. And if you do have an issue, there is, of course, blind spot monitoring equipped on this vehicle. Speaking of other technology safety features that I absolutely love, as you guys know, lane centering, it's amazing. It is so good in Genesis, Hyundai, Kia, any of that brand. It's so good. It's so refined. It is just stays dead center. You should never, again, disclaimer, have your wheels or your hands off the wheel. With that said, if you're just getting a drink of water, it stays dead center of the lane. It does perfect right there, and I'm right back to the wheel. That allows you to not be driving with your knee. That makes it safe, and it does a really good job. Also on long drives, it stays center of the lane, so you don't have to worry about getting any kind of fatigue in your hand, wrist, whatever, which, yeah, some of you are gonna be like, calm down. Touching on the adaptive cruise control, works really well. Don't have anything really to say about that because it works really well, so we'll just leave it at that. The other thing that I love about the Genesis G80 is the fact that it is obviously an electrified model, and it looks like any other G80. I personally like a car that can be an EV that doesn't scream that it's an EV. Like, I love that it looks normal. And I think there's many people and buyers out there that feel the same way. And, you know, it's just one of those things that it's all, I guess it's all based on opinion. But for me, I really do like that it's just not crazy concept. Like, it's a beautifully done, nice, luxury sedan. The question becomes, and the thing that I always hear, and it just gets, it gets old. Everyone associates still, and I can't figure out for the life of me why, Genesis, Hyundai, Kia. Now, people still think, for some reason, there's so many people that still think that Kia and Hyundai are less than anyone else. Like their attention to detail, and Genesis is so nice. Again, I don't get paid by Genesis. I don't get paid by Kia, Hyundai. I don't get paid by any of these manufacturers. I'm just telling you my honest opinion. I get almost every manufacturer you can think of, and Genesis is that nice. It really is. It can go up against any brand. I don't care what you want it to go up against. It absolutely is a great competitor, and in my opinion, it's a better value. Again, it's all opinion based. That's just me. I look at the interiors. I check out little things, right? Like, does the stitching all line up? Do all of the cracks and crevices, like, all of that matters. Again, I have a supply chain background in automotive, so I pay attention to all that stuff, because when a car doesn't pass quality control, that affects me in supply chain. I need those cars to go out the door. So I'm very used to looking at all of those things, on top of obviously being a journalist with all of these vehicles, and Genesis is up there. So if you're ever wondering about that, just go drive one, go check one out for yourself. This isn't smoke and mirrors. Go do it. I highly encourage you, because you're gonna go, holy smokes, that is one of the best vehicles I have ever driven. 100%, I guarantee. If you guys have any questions, comment down below. Happy to answer those the best I can. Please like, please subscribe, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.